Hey, what's up, guys? Dave here. Figured I would give a little comeback deck profile. Uh, Coming back into the game, I was looking at this Ignister stuff. Right now, this deck is a really good go second kill you deck. Well, not really good. It does the same thing that all the other go second kill you decks do. It pumps out a bunch of monsters, blows up boards, and then attacks for game. So I figured this would be a good deck to come back with. It also has support coming up. When the Link 6 comes out in Eternity Code or whatever the next set is called, um, this deck becomes like a go first extra Link deck. So I thought it'd be a good investment now. But anyway, this is my preliminary profile. So here we go. First up, we've got 3 of your Stratos. Heard Stratos was real good, so we're going to play 3 of it. Excuse me. His graveyard effect also can come up for a bunch of decks. If you get into a grind game, then you can just kind of sit on the Phoenix and this guy in your graveyard and just dance around people. Next, 3 Picari. These are your 2 starters. You want to see at least one of these in your opening hand. Ideally with field spell, that'd be awesome. But this guy gets you to the field spell. He also gets you to a missing piece if you open the field spell in this guy, so you can get Reborn. There are weird instances where you might want to get the fusion spell, but most of the time you just use Doshin to get that. But yeah, this guy's really good. Changes stuff to level 4, turns into the big light dragon, yada yada. I'm playing 3 of the tuner. Mostly, one because tuner, but mostly because Foolish Burial is really good. Since you play a couple Reborn spells, if you draw this card in a Reborn spell, it's kind of just like drawing one of these guys anyway, except kind of better. So Armageddon Knight's real good, so why would you not play 3 of it? Two Doyon. This guy's okay. He doesn't really do anything by himself in your hand, but he's a different attribute Ignister, and he can recycle your dudes back. So in the combos, you can dump something with Booru and get it back with this, or you can normal summon something, get it back with Doyon, and then special summon it with the field spell. So this guy's good. I've thought about cutting him to 1 because you only really need 1. The second one has literally only come up because it's level 4, and I used 1 but wanted another level 4 because I didn't have access to this to make the light dragon. So yeah, this could maybe be at 1. I wouldn't play 3 of it though, because like I said, it doesn't do anything in your hand by itself. 2 Doshin. This guy's good in that it's keys on, so if you have another one of your Ignister guys out, you can just summon it. And then you can get the fusion spell, and the fusion spell is really, really good. I really underestimated how good that card was, because it's like Fusionifier, but it's not restricted to just your Salamangreat dudes, because the fusion monster just requires a Link monster and a Cybers monster. So as long as you're using one of your Ignisters, you can clear out one of your opponent's Link monsters, which is always good. And then I'm playing 1 Hiyari. I'm not playing the ritual stuff that this thing is supposed to support. It's literally just another attribute on the off chance that I have enough gas to summon this and then keep going. And it's just Doshin. So this could go up, but I wouldn't play the ritual stuff. The ritual stuff really just isn't needed right now. That's the Ignister monsters. Extender monsters / just really good utility stuff. Balancer Lord. This card's nuts in this deck. So if you draw this and just another monster, kinda, you can still do your combos. Ideally, you want to see an Ignister monster because it's your deck. But the Cybers monsters are getting enough just special summon support and just good monsters that this card is just really, really good right now, especially for this deck. Now some Mathmech cards. 2 add and 2 subtract. These cards are nuts. They're free extenders that do something. So subtraction subtracts the attack from something on the board, and addition adds the attack. So the hypothetical is that if you have both of these cards and any of your little guys in your hand, then your little guys automatically become not so little anymore. They you can almost think of it as them having 2,000 extra attack. That might sound dumb to some people, but it's the simplest way to do it in my brain. So yeah, these cards are really, really good, and free bodies are always nice. Utility hand trap. free droll. This is just because, like, Spiral and a whole bunch of search decks are coming around, like Spiral and Heroes, and this card kind of poops on them. Ash doesn't do anything to those two decks. Like, Ash just doesn't really do enough in general right now. But this is like a flex spot. You could put, hypothetically, whatever you wanted in here. So yeah, those are the monsters. On to spells. Reason the deck is good. This card is bonkers. The fact, so if you, like, open this card and 4 Ignister monsters in your hand, you could, like, poop out your whole hand and, like, combo off. And the fact that it recycles itself is nuts. I've honestly, people are playing Foolish Burial Goods to dump this card as, like, another way to see it. And I guess I'll go over this now. The only reason I think that's not great is because if you see too many field spells in your hand, this card doesn't do anything without Ignister monsters also in your hand. So, like, this card is busted, but not by itself. So yeah, playing the 4 copies I think is enough. So, like, this, and of course Terraforming, you'll see that later. But yeah, 2 Idle Reborn. So most lists I see are playing 3, and you'd think with me playing 3 Buru I'd want to play 3, but here's the deal. It's the same with this card. So, like, if you see a bunch of Reborn spells and no monsters to Reborn, then they're dead. And they're, like, hard ones per turns. So, like, why would I want to see multiples of these and play 3 to increase my chances of seeing multiples? Like, seeing multiples of this kind of sucks. Seeing multiples of this kind of sucks. So I don't want to do that. But I want to see this, just not in multiples. It's complicated. It's a weird relationship. And 1 I Love Fusion, because it's searchable and, like, you don't want to draw this card. If you draw this card, your Doshins lose their purpose, apart from being just, like, an extra body. And the Fusion Monster, like I said, the Fusion Monster is not great, but, like, it's alright. It's good enough to warrant playing at least 1 copy of this. 3 Mining, because all your monsters are Cyberse monsters except for your hand trap. So, like, why not have access to your whole deck? As I said at the beginning of this video, this is a Go Second Kill You deck. And, like, I'm very fortunate to have these. But 3 Lightning Storm. So here's the deal. This is kind of flex. Because, like, if you try and crack Spiral with this card, you'll get laughed at. So, like, it's mostly for back row decks, or, like, if you feel like you can bait out all the stuff and then not have any monsters left, then sure, drop this card like it's hot. But, like, this card's kind of really only alright. It's busted, don't get me wrong. Its price tag is warranted. But it's mostly good against back row decks. But, like, if you don't want to drop $300 on this, I got really lucky with these. But I guess I was going to cover this later, but you can just play 3 evenly matched and it's effectively the same thing, even though this card's going up in price. So I would recommend picking this up if you don't want to play these. But some kind of mass removal is kind of needed outside of, like, your monsters, just out of necessity, because then, like, they can waste their negates on these cards, and then just by circumstance you can go into all of your broken monsters that pop the entire board. 3 Called by the Grave, because this deck is really susceptible to hand traps. It can play through a lot, but a hand trap in the right spot stops your entire deck, so, like, this is kind of necessary. And then the 1-up spells, Monster Reborn, Terraforming. Don't play traps in this deck, you're going second, and, like, all the trap cards for this deck right now are garbage. Monster Reborn is taking the slot of the 3rd Idle Reborn, because you can use both of them. So, like, if you have 1 monster and then Idle Reborn and Monster Reborn, then it's kind of like you're just looking at a Link 3, or looking at, like, Cyberse Wicked and then getting a Buru and then starting your place from there. So, like, yeah, Reborn is, like, really good in this deck. Okay, that's the deck. That's it's 41 cards. The 41st card is the water guy. But yeah, two things you could put in the main deck as well if you want to try them. Tie Strike. This card is neat. But, like, it gets into the whole conversation of, like, extending your game state versus just, like, stalling your opponents. So, like, this is a neat battle trick, but, like, it doesn't do anything to actually help you out. so I don't think it's worth playing. But if you wanted to try it, it'd be fine. We already went over evenly matched instead of lightning storm. Honestly, this could be like better in some scenarios than lightning storm because it banishes and doesn't destroy. So like, yeah, this could be really good as well. The other thing, you'd have to make room in the extra deck, but Signet Ritual, and you have to play the Paladin thing. But if you play this card, then you have to play Cyber's Witch in your extra deck. And where you have room in the extra deck, if you feel comfortable cutting stuff and just like focusing on going second, then that's fine. But yeah, this is stuff you should pick up for later, for whenever the Link 6 comes out, because this is like a big part of the extra Link combo for then. But like for right now, I would just pick these up and like sleep on them. And then let's get into the extra deck. Lingaribo, just one, because I wanted to play Link Disciple. Right now, the way the deck is now, it kind of bricks sometimes, and like Link Disciple, a lot of times you're just one Ignister monster away, or one like, or like the field spell away from being able to combo off, and sometimes just going into this doesn't get you there. So this is the hope and pray to God strategy, because like playing two of these is fine, but you can just like keep bringing this thing back. This is a one-time use card, but like sometimes it'll win you the game. And I know you're not supposed to play chance cards or whatever, but like I'd rather play a card that gives me a chance to like play and win the game than not play it, you know. Cyber's Wicked, this card is broken, like especially with Balancer Lord and Booru being a tuner. Like the Foolish Burial also being a tuner is really, really broken. Yeah, this card is really, really good. Getting into some of the Link 3s. This is like your win condition, sort of. It's like a Soul Charge and like a Pseudo Monster Reborn all in one card. Like this card is absolutely bonkers. If you special summon something to a zone this points to, you can special summon Ignisters in your graveyard, level 4 lower Ignisters in your graveyard to zones he points to. So cool thing you can do is like if Lingaribo is in your graveyard and you just like summon something to his spot, you can activate the effect and activate whatever you want here. This is a quick effect, so you can activate this effect to get rid of the monster this is pointing to, and then summon Lingaribo and then 3 other dudes. So Lingaribo becomes an extra dude. So instead of just summoning 2 more things, you get to summon like 4 things. It's ridiculous. So yeah, this card is bonkers. I think you have to play 2, because if for some reason you don't kill them, you want to be able to try and kill them again. So just having that fodder is really nice. Transco Talker, optional spot here. You can play. You can also play Update Jammer with it if you feel like you want to make room, because Update Transcode is like one of the easiest things in the world to do with this deck because there's so much gas. Fire Phoenix at Ignister. This card, like I said, it's kind of optional, but I mean it's nice if you wind up in a grind game, because there are a lot of times where you'll just randomly be able to poop out 3 monsters, but you won't be able to get to a 4th, so you can't abuse Exemplar. So you just sit on this thing, and then if you have the fire one engraved, this becomes like a pseudo loop. Like you can just keep popping it with the red one's effect, and then bringing it back in the standby phase, and just like poking for 23 if you get into the grind game. It's like, I hate to say it, but it's also really great in time, because like you just poke something and then you deal 2,300 to them directly. It's pretty nuts. I wanted to build this deck to mostly go second, but like if people are smart, they'll tell you to go first if you kill them in like the disrespectful way that this deck kills people sometimes. And I wanted to have at least an option that was a little more than Dark Fluid. So I played the Masquerena package, because you can make this like really dumb easy, and you can make it just like right under Exemplar without expending too many of your resources. So like you go through one of your Link 1s, Wicked, and then something, and I think that's it, and then one of your Exemplars, of course. But then you end up with this, and then you usually have an extra monster on board, so you can have it for your Unicorn fodder. And sometimes that's just better, because they have to go through more stuff. So yeah, this is your going one, and like this is just good at any point in time. Big guy, Abramax. I haven't necessarily figured out how to do it yet, but one of the best boards you can do, I'm pretty sure, is Abramax up here in the extra monster zone with a Masquerena and an extra dude here, but you got to have like a lot of gas to do that. So this is more for just making space to summon more things while you're trying to kill someone. And then Dark Fluid. Dark Fluid can randomly kill people, and he's also like a turn 1 play if you know that they rely heavily on monster effects, so you can give this 2 counters, and then they have to blow 2 of their monster effects to get through this guy. And a lot of times after 2 monster effects, if they can still play, they can't get over 3k. So just being the big body is really good. And yeah, so he's really nice. I'm playing 2 of the Light Dragon. This is a recent change, so like if you do the Dark Fluid as your turn 1, then you go through 1 of these, and then like if you're not playing the second one, you just don't have a follow-up play. Like you spend a lot of stuff to get to Dark Fluid, so like if you're going into Dark Fluid, you're really crossing your fingers and hoping and praying to God that they can't get through that. So having this as a follow-up for that is really nice because it gives you options to still kill them. 1 wing Pegasus, whatever. This is your back. Oh, this also pops monsters up to the number of industries you control, which is really, really relevant. This is your spell and trap removal. Its banish effect is also really relevant as a form of like neat little spot removal. So yeah, this card is really good, and it facilitates a lot of Boo-Roo shenanigans. So yeah, Boo-Roo is probably my favorite one. Like Foolish Burial is always good, and Foolish Burial on legs, that's also a tuner. That's a combination that's really, really nuts. And then the last one is the Fusion Monster. Fusion Monster is busted. Like, well, not busted, sorry. The Fusion card is busted. The Fusion Monster is only okay. It's got some kind of graveyard effect when it dies, but it's mostly there just because all it takes is a Cyberse and a Link Monster, and you can yeet your opponent's Link Monster. So yeah, that's the deck. Video was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I mean, I try to explain things whenever I do deck profiles, just because I think you can look at the cards, but like if you've never seen these cards before, you kind of want to know what they do. Another card I want to talk about real quick is this card. So Code Talker Inverted, it's a new card from this past set, and oh god, you can't see that at all. Maybe? No? Okay, yeah. So if this card is Link Summon, you can special summon 1 Cyberse monster from your hand to your zone this card points to. You can only use this effect of Code Talker Inverted once per turn. So occasionally you'll have a shit ton of Ignister monsters in your hand, but no field spell to summon them. So like you summon your Lingaribo, and then you have like some extenders or whatever. It was just one instance where like I ended up getting to Picari later. So like making this underneath a Lingaribo, and then summoning, and then being able to normal summon Aichi or Picari to a zone this points to, just to like keep the plays rolling, would have been really, really good. So I think this card is something that we can look at in the future, and maybe like right now, but it won't be relevant when the extra link stuff happens. So this is like a card just for right now if you want to play it now, which I mean I'm doing. I would the only thing I would consider cutting for that is the second Ignister, just because everything else in your extra deck is kind of, I don't want to say like mandatory, but the extra deck space is a lot tighter than people think with this deck. The Masquerena and Unicorn are personal preferences because I don't want to be like dead in the water and have to commit to a Dark Fluid turn 1. But yeah, I think this card could be good right now. So yeah, that's my welcome back deck profile. Hope you enjoyed, hope you maybe learned something. And if you stuck around this long, thanks. Bye.